Today in class you're going to be working on a vector resolution worksheet. Looks kind of like this. And to do so, you're going to notice that I made up a story about a place I used to work called Hardin Northern High School. And I made up the story where we did a field trip where we stopped from the airport here and we drove all over the countryside, dropping kids off after the field trip until we wound up at home. Now, what you need to do, though, to do this is I give you a number of vectors to follow. For example, the very first vector is go north for 675 meters. So right down here, you'll notice there's this little airplane. That's where you start. You start on the street right here, and every direction I give you will follow a road. You are not to drive through a cornfield, okay? Drive along the roads. If your measurements in an activity such as this, millimeter will matter. If your measurement puts you beyond an intersection, go ahead, understand that you're doing it correctly, but the rounding, it's really truly rounding here. You got to come back to the intersection. Okay, now to do this, you'll notice down here in the corner there is a scale, and we definitely want to be using the 500 meters part of it here, and you throw your ruler up against it, and you're going to measure how many millimeters is that 500 meters, and you set up yourself a proportion, something like 1 point something centimeters is to 500, as some number I'm trying to find is to, the number for the vector, because I don't want to, do the problems for you here. Some number for the vector, and you do some cross multiplying, and you'll say that, oh, my 675, oh, that's like 1 point something centimeters, and you would 1 point something centimeters, and you draw like, oh boy, I get to there. Now you'll notice a few things in here in the instructions. It says use two different colors, one for the north-south and one for the east-west vectors. I definitely recommend doing them in regular pencil first, and then going and coloring them in afterwards. Once you have all these, and make sure you label where you drop the kids off, like this kid Chase and that kid Dylan and Maggie. And you make sure you label where they're at, and all their houses are organized at an intersection. So you'll be like, boom, Billy lives right there. Okay, then you'll notice you have work to do back here. Compiling displacement. So north-south displacement. Take all your norths and your souths and add and subtract to figure out what the overall displacement is. All of your easts and your wests, and find the displacement there. And then task 4 is you're going to do a little bit of Pythagorean theorem to figure out overall what's the displacement. And then here you're going to use the ruler and measure it out and see, hopefully these two are very close to each other. Okay, then I say to draw a diagonal vector to show each kid's displacement from my house, and then you will repeat task 3, 4, and 5 with those other kids here. And lastly, if you measure that last vector right, you should be able to figure out the street, and no, it is not Geneva Street or Main Street. Okay? So you'll figure all this out. You can do it. I have confidence in you. Please put the rulers back when you're done. Good luck.